which we really need to try and get some leverage on. As I say, I think this we're talking about a year to a year and a half. I think it's probably a year before this appeal actually comes to any fruition, which is a very long period of time. Now, what the impression I get is that the Dutch media and, of course, the Amsterdam authorities in particular, would be quite happy if this went away for a year and nobody talked about it. So my intention is to try and push and continue to push to get at least our side of the story out there. I have a list of, I've been tweeting, I mean, we're now starting a kind of like carpet bomb tweet campaign against a whole list of politicians, because what we want the politicians to, I would like to see questions in Parliament. And I know it might sound a bit far-fetched, but Holland's not a big country. I mean, I know at least one very high shadow cabinet member personally. That shows you how small it is. He used to coach my son's football team. And I've already got a number of other people at that kind of level kind of asking me questions. So I think basically what I want to know is there something that Celtic can do to help us push in that direction to actually get answers to the questions which are not being answered?
Yeah, I mean, I think that through John Cameron Webb was pushing some stuff through a guy called, don't know if you know the name, Gerard Duckin. No, I think he was the Police Complaints Commissioner, or he works for the Police Complaints Commission. John Cameron Webb was pushing some stuff through him, and he suggested that he was actually quite helpful. We've also given his details to Jeroen Sotemans. Jeroen, I was picked up on his pronunciation today. So we've given that information to Jeroen, and he also is going to pick that up. So I think we're pretty confident that the people that we've got acting on our behalf in Amsterdam are going to ask the right questions of the right people, and we're just going to continue to keep pushing them to do that. Jeroen, as you know probably, is also, he's got another very high profile case against the Dutch police, the Amsterdam police, over the killing of the boy, the Ajax fan. That goes to court in January, and that's going to be a national case. So he's well connected and he's well up the chain. And as I say, we did find John Cameron Webb very helpful in terms of getting us into places that we wouldn't normally have got in and opening some doors, and we're just going to continue pushing in that vein. So hopefully that will be sufficient to get the right questions asked in the right places. But if there's anything specific, or if there's any individuals that you want us to maybe pursue, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to follow them up.
Okay, that's helpful, because I think, as I say, my gut feeling is this whole thing is now being tried in the media, and that if we don't get the right kind of PR's not the right word, but we don't get the right kind of messages coming out, then we're going to be in big shit. Because
Carol, sorry, John Paul. Carol, can I just ask, when Barcelona visited last week, was there any issues, or was that basically everyone keeping below the radar?
There was an awful lot less of them. In fact, I was actually in Dam Square before the match, because I went round to thank the guys from the Europub for coming up with that footage. You know the riot police footage. So I went round and well, it was only the manager of Europub, and it was actually pretty quiet around there. So no, not even a hint of it. I did go. I mean, I was even in the red light district, which I am right now, but we won't talk about that. And did a quick pilgrimage, because I wanted to see. I'd never been in the Old Sailor, for example.
I beg your pardon?
So I'd never been in. And that's a good one. I had never actually.
Well, we're learning something every day at school day.
Oh, I got up the Old Sailor.
I should have watched for that one. That was coming. I went to have a look around there to see just how near is it to the dam, that kind of thing, and how easy is it to get to that. So bottom line was, Barcelona were far fewer of them. There wasn't a sign of trouble. There wasn't even a big crowd on. Congregating around Dam Square, because I walked through it in order to go to the pub to watch the Celtic match, and the Milan match, if you know what I mean. And it was relatively quiet, so not even a hint of trouble. But there wasn't any confrontation either. I didn't see it.
And John Paul, in respect to the Barcelona game, is there any kind of extra issues been raised due to that, or is this been treated as a standard game and Ajax is a one-off.
Well, to be honest with you, Ajax would be a one-off. There is nothing different about the Barcelona preparations that that would stand out against any other game. To be honest with you, we don't have any doubt whatsoever that we'll go to Barcelona and there'll be absolutely no issues whatsoever. I feel that what happened in Ajax was probably, I haven't seen anything like it since we played in Vigo many years ago, 2002, 2003. And it'll probably be another 10 years before we see anything like it again, if ever. Hopefully not. But no, I still go back on what I said a minute ago. Our fans didn't cause it. We didn't cause the trouble that night, and we don't have a troublesome support.
Yep. Obviously, we've got trust in Celtic support. I was thinking more in line of a kind of police reaction. It tends to be OTT. The Spanish police may therefore get their backs up early and just be prepared for a fight that isn't actually coming. But when that adrenaline's kind of flowing before you've even got there, it can be a bit of a worry. That's what I was kind of...
I kind of get that, Paul, to be honest with you, but I would like to think that the relations that we've had with Barcelona in recent years, we've had a great relationship, in terms of the city and in terms of the football club. We've gone there quite a number of times over the last 8 or 9 years now, and never ever any issues. We're well received, we're welcomed there. The people in Barcelona, plenty of time for the Celtic fans, and I think that they know. We've obviously spoken to Barcelona as well as a club, so we made them aware of the problems that we had in Amsterdam, and we tried to kind of give them some pointers as well for their visit. And obviously they would appreciate that as well. So no, we're well received and we've got good relations there. So I'd be surprised if anything out of the ordinary occurred.
Rich, did you have a few diary questions?
Right. Now that I've got you in front of me, the programme for the Dundee United game. I stopped buying programmes a long time ago because, well, they weren't very good and they were piling up all over the place. But I picked one up at the Dundee United game, and I did look down the back when I was reading it. And number 7 was a guy called Chris Gorman. Now, I don't have anything against Chris Gorman or anything as such, but should we not be buying a number 7 instead of just renting it out every week?
I don't know what the question is.
The question is, what the hell are Magners doing renting out Ralph's beloved number 7 jersey to any old punter? Because we were trying to work out what was it. Because I was asking him, was it no maybe like a sponsor deal, like it's not that you get like people sponsoring the jerseys, etc. And then we were thinking, maybe is that a tribute thing, or like, is that a prize? Is it somebody's, or is it this corporate sponsorship, so to speak? This saying, okay, John Paul, you've sold the most Magners this week. You can be the Celtic number 7. I think he was a bit lost that we, or either that he was confused that we had a new signing.
I don't even know what all that is. To be honest with you, I genuinely don't.
That's some attitude for a company employee, isn't it?
I know, Chris Gorman.
Are you pleading corporate ignorance here? Because a certain other club tried that once.
I've been used for the whole Chris Gorman thing.
Who is Chris Gorman and how many goals can he score in a season? That is the question.
To be honest with you, he's not going to do any worse than the other ones up front, is he? So tell him to bring his boots next week.
Exactly.
Obviously, it's something that Magners are doing to raise a wee bit more money or raise awareness for their product. But it just kind of cheapens the whole thing again, doesn't it? More than a club or just a marketing tool.
So what exactly were they doing? What was the whole concept of what Magners is doing?
Basically, you can phone them up and donate some money to whoever or whatever, and on the programme you get the number 1 is Fraser Forster and all the way through, etc. And then you get to number 7 and it's whoever paid the most money this week. And 7's kind of a sacred number, isn't it, with Celtic?
Absolutely.
It just kind of cheapens the whole thing. It makes us look just as bad as anybody else that's trying to sell their tuppence worth in the market.
So suddenly the Amsterdam questions are starting to look a lot easier than anything else.
I'm genuinely sorry, I didn't know anything about that at all. I'm like you, I never buy the programme.
I was actually thinking as well when I was reading it, it was better. It's the old days of the Celtic view, great without the cup, we can concentrate on the league and that kind of thing in October or something. And it was quite a decent read, some good interviews, and then you get to the back page and you think, God, we've sold out completely.
So somebody that paid the most amount of money to get his name on the back page of the programme, goes back there with his name on the back page of the programme.
Yeah. Or perhaps the guy that edits the programme is now called Chris Gorman. It's just something he's doing until somebody notices. It's maybe telling his kids that's where he is on a Saturday afternoon.
No, I get your point. No, it is a bit rubbish.
When you tell your kids, when you take your kids to the football, or when you take somebody from where I live up for the first time, you try and explain to them that it's different, and really it's becoming the same as everywhere else.
Right. I see what you're saying with that, definitely. But I didn't know anything. I genuinely didn't know. I'm calling you Chris now. There you go. You signed for Celtic. Sorry.
Wait a minute. Is this turning into the Fight Club? Is this turning into Celtic Club? It turns out Ralph and Chris are all the one person.
It's more like the one funny now.
The first rule of the Etims podcast is we don't talk about the Etims podcast.
And when it goes off, nobody can hear us anyway. And somebody asked me about buses being stopped by the police when they're exiting the ground. They're getting held up for like 30, 40 minutes, and they're missing connections to other trains and flights and whatever else have you. What was the exact word in the question? Hold on. The police stopping the service buses from moving after the games on the Tron Gate. We sit in buses for up to 40 minutes. People are missing rail connections. Well, the buses and other traffic are held up. Surely public transport should have priority. That was one.
I'll find out what the story is with the buses. I think with the new move to the velodrome, there's still a wee bit of uncertainty how it's all going to work best, to be honest with you, because I've heard various different stories about some people it's been working great for them, it's been working bad for others, so I think it's a big part of that's just about settling down, to be honest. But I'll raise it with not really with the match commander, but I'll raise it through the operations department. They would tell me.
Right. Another one that's come up. It's all basically on the theme of the PLC moving away from the supporter, right? It's going to be a wee bit difficult for you, I suppose, whichever way you want to come down on it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll give you that exactly as I see it, because I've been kind of picking this up as well recently about PLC, not CFC, and anti-Irish and stuff like that. And if it's happening somewhere that I can't see, and it's certainly not something that I'm involved in or participating in. I just I'm not quite sure where it's coming from, but I want it in terms of what people's views are. See, one thing I've picked up on, which I think it's maybe just a wee bit churlish, is there in their ivory towers, we're just the guys on the ground, as it were. Why did the PLC just accept the Lord Nimmo Smith verdict? That's a question for somebody on the diary responses today. When will the club address the situation to the shareholders and customers? I don't know if that's actually quite your department. It's not really. It's an awkward. Well, it's not an awkward one, because again, I can give you a straight answer on it. And that what they did, I was saying that it's not really, because I'm talking about Resolution 12, which was why was it never discussed at the AGM. And I believe that the reason was that the people that put forward the proposal accepted the club's stance on it, but I was never involved in any of that, so I don't know what was discussed, and I don't know what the compromise agreement was. I don't know why that all just fizzled out the way that it did. I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answer to that.
So that would be, you would say that would be unfair of us to speculate. Maybe they could come out and tell us what they actually discussed with the PLC themselves. I was going to go to the pictures tonight, and do you know what they did? They moved the showing. Right. I was going to have moved it for another week. Back and they gave me it. And then by a remarkable coincidence, I find out we've shifted the Kilmarnock game, which I've already paid for my seat and booked to travel, and the hotels, and the plane, and the women, and the beer, and the cigarettes. Yep. And they've moved it. And not only me as well, that's on a light-hearted note, but there are 56 kids that were going to go to that game. Why are Celtic moving games to give the players a week off when they haven't bloody deserved one?
We were waiting for Ralph's rant. I think we just got it there, John Paul.
Ralph, listen, I can totally sympathise with this, to be honest with you. My understanding is at the beginning of the season, the SPFL contacted all the clubs and said, look, there is no scheduled winter break, but if you would like one, it can take place the second week in January, but you need to give us some form of notification that you would like to. I think that what's happened is, I think the manager has taken the view that between the Champions League qualifiers and the World Cup qualifiers and the fairly heavy schedule that the players have undergone recently, I think he feels that they would benefit from a break, given that we've still got the defence of the Scottish Cup and you would hope the title as well to come up. So he's decided to exercise his right in doing that, and he's perfectly entitled to do so. Where I think we as a club have fallen foul of the fans